But I want to start here first with some hope. And I don't know if this, what I'm going to say here gives you peace or not. It does for me. This has all been done before. Solomon said, what has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. The Antonine Plague, 165, was a pandemic, killed between 2 to 3% of the global population. The year 165, 10 to 18 million people, and it was a gruesome disease when you got it. But in his infinite wisdom, Marcus Aurelius, who's right up there in the pantheon with Solomon, he wrote this in his diary. And I want to thank the great Ryan Holiday for finding this. But this is what he wrote during that plague. He said this is to himself. He said, to bear in mind constantly that all of this has happened before and will happen again. The same plot from beginning to end, the identical staging. Produce them in your mind as you know them from experience or from history. The court of Hadrian, of Antonius, the courts of Philip, Alexander, Croesus, all the same, only the people different. It's all been done before. And as Holiday noted, he said the pattern's the same. He said the only thing that spread faster than the contagion was the fear and the rumors. People panicked. Doctors were baffled. Government officials dawdled and failed. Travel was delayed or rerouted or aborted together. Festivals, gatherings, sporting events all canceled. The economy plunged. Bodies piled up. It was 2,000 years ago. There's this belief today, this modern belief that there's a moral arc of history. You've heard President Obama say that a lot, the moral arc of history. And this idea, this progressive idea that we're going from a bad, backwards, ignorant place in the past, and we're marching towards a utopia, right? We're marching towards a better, brighter, disease-free future. And people view humanity as progress. We're always progressing. And they also believe that if something bad ever happens, if you're a progressive and something bad happens, it means the government's not big enough. Or it means there's some uniquely bad person who broke the pact and ruined it for everyone. That's the progressive mindset. But I believe that it's all been done before and that human nature never changes. Things change, right? This is a new kind of virus. Technology changes, all that. But it's all the same in the end. At our core, we're all the same. History is not a line marching towards utopia. It's a circle. There's nothing new under the sun. And I get comfort in that because we've survived it. We've survived it then. Right? Humans, we have a 100% survival rate as a species. We'll survive this too. And that gives me hope. Quick point on leadership before we get to our expert on this coming up here. But Marcus Aurelius, he was a philosopher. He was not an emperor. Frank McClinn was one of his biographers. He wrote that no man could have been less equipped to deal with that crisis, that plague that broke out over the empire. No man could have been less equipped than Marcus Aurelius. So how did he do it? How did he rise to the occasion? First, he knew he had to make sacrifices. Listen to this. He conducted a 2-month sale of imperial effects and possessions, putting under the hammer not just the sumptuous furniture from the imperial apartments, the gold goblets, silver flagons, I don't know what that is, crystals and chandeliers, but also his wife's silken, gold-embroidered robes and her jewels, right? So he sacrificed everything. This is the opposite of what it looks like many senators did, right? Selling off stock when they first got word that this could be bad. If that's true, that's a total betrayal move. Marcus Aurelius did nothing of the sort. Funeral for plague victims. Funerals were paid for by the state. No official was allowed to buy anything without approval from Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, and his men had to bear as big, if not a bigger burden than the people throughout that entire plague. He also surrounded himself with the best. He surrounded himself with the Dr. Fauci of the day. He didn't surround himself with a bunch of cronies or yes men. And everyone was scared back then. And if you're scared now, I get it. But perspective's always important. Back then, the streets were full of corpses. People died. You get the disease, you died within 2 to 3 days. Nothing you could do about it. And it was a disgusting external disease. People would light incense, thinking it would keep them safe, but it didn't. And it would just mix with the smell of rotting corpses in the street. Like, we're nowhere near that. So let's be grateful for that. But what did Marcus Aurelius do in the midst of that? He never complained. even though some of his kids died, lost all of his money. He didn't hide. He was seen in public. He attended funerals. He gave speeches. He never panicked. He wasn't rattled. But he wasn't like emotionally distant. He would go to funerals and he would weep. He would be in the streets and he would meet people and he would see different things and he would weep with them. And it was 15 years into his reign. 15 years. And one day he woke up and he was showing symptoms. He finally got it. He knew he had only a few days to live. So he called in his men to talk about plans for who would take over. But his men were grieving. They couldn't focus. And Marcus Aurelius said to them, he said, "Weep not for me. Rather," he said, "think rather of the pestilence and the deaths of so many others." This is a time for leaders to step up. Some will know, and some will never see. Some are working at your grocery store, or driving trucks, or a nurse you'll never meet, working 24-hour shifts, never taking their mask off. Big moments like this, they require not only big leaders, like the president, right? We looked at the president of the United States. But it also requires everyone to do seemingly little things. We need all kinds of leaders here. Slater Crusaders, thanks for watching the first on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe. We got plenty.